Manx Radio's Update with Lewis Foster.
Fastamai, good evening. It's 5 o'clock on a Thursday evening, the 22nd of August, and welcome to your daily roundup of news on and from the Isle of Man today. Coming up in the next half hour, there's praise for the unsung heroes who keep the island running during stormy weather. We'll have the latest on the sailings as the Manxman returns to the island, and hundreds of students have picked up their GCSE results today. Crucially tonight, we'll keep you posted on anything to watch out for travel-wise, and as ever, your thoughts always welcome. 166 177 or email studio@manxradio.com. First of all, here's Christian Jones with the headlines. Fastamai, Christian.
Fastamai. Healthcare services are taking steps to prepare for any potential Mpox cases that may arise on the Isle of Man, though Public Health says the risk remains low. It was previously known as monkeypox and can cause painful skin lesions and is spread through direct contact. Hundreds of Manx pupils collected their GCSE results today with overall pass rates at 98%. A-star to C grades are up on last year, but those earning the highest A-star and A grades is down a percentage point at 20%. And roads around the Manx Grand Prix course are expected to close in just under an hour ahead of the remainder of today's qualifying sessions. The Senior and Classic Superbike will get underway from 6:30. In international news now, and the family of the bank chairman Jonathan Bloomer and his wife Judy have described an unimaginable grief to shoulder after their bodies were recovered from a sunken super yacht off the coast of Sicily. British tech tycoon Mike Lynch also died, with a search continuing for his 18-year-old daughter Hannah. Former footballer Jermaine Genus has been sacked by the BBC. The broadcaster's confirmed he's no longer part of the presenting lineup, having appeared on Match of the Day and The One Show. The Sun is reporting it's over an internal investigation into alleged complaints about his behaviour. And a drug that can slow the symptoms of Alzheimer's has been approved by the UK's medicines regulator, but lecanemab won't be rolled out on the NHS because it's not cost effective. Those are the update news headlines. Next at 6.
Thank you, Christian. Now, the weather brought to you by Manx Glass and Glazing. There are 2 weather warnings issued by the Ronaldsway Met Office. An amber warning comes into force just after midnight until 4:30 tomorrow morning for coastal overtopping and inner harbour flooding. The Met Office says strong and gale force winds along with high spring tides will create very large waves and result in debris onto exposed coast roads. The areas most at risk include Douglas Promenade, Shore Road in Rushen and Laxey Promenade. Forecasters are also warning of up to 30 to 40 millimetres of rainfall over higher ground between 7 o'clock this evening and 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, as well as severe gale force winds reaching up to 55 miles per hour, resulting in a yellow warning. The conditions could result in localised flooding, while those with outdoor furniture and campers are being urged to take precautions. Now, isolated showers tomorrow with sunny spells developing through the morning, with strong to near gale force westerly winds becoming a fresh to strong southwest during the afternoon. Top temperature around 17 degrees. Then sunny spells and very isolated showers on Saturday with a moderate to fresh west to southwest wind and top temperature again of 17 degrees. Sunset tonight just after 8:30 and sunrise tomorrow morning at 11 minutes past 6.
Manx Glass and Glazing don't just do the big jobs. It's easy to repair broken greenhouse glass at Manx Glass and Glazing. For greenhouse glass cut to size, call 674 573.
TE Carbon provide new memorial stones, grave renovations, new inscriptions and fire hearths. Visit us at Hope Street, Castletown or at Broadway, Douglas, or call 844 440. TE Carbon. Here when you need us.
Ambitions Recruitment Consultants, covering all business sectors in the Isle of Man. Register online or email your CV to info@ambitions.co.im or ring 614 841. Ambitions, for all your recruitment needs, however big or small.
We all need peace of mind. That's where Peace of Mind Manx Will Writing Services can help you. From just £149 plus VAT. Call 671 001 or go to peaceofmind manxmind.co.im.
Most builders start with a hammer and saw. Manx Construction start with ideas and imagination. For new build, extension or home office, Manx Construction offer full service from planning to completion. Call Tony on 452 688.
You're listening to the Isle of Man's quintessential daily news and current affairs roundup. Update on Manx Radio.
That's right, and the time now 5:05. The unsung heroes who worked overnight to keep the island moving through gales, heavy rain and coastal overtopping have been praised by the police. Crews were called out to a wide range of incidents, including a damaged telegraph pole in Baldrine, a traffic collision and fallen trees. And as we heard at the top of the hour, it's looking to be tricky again tonight. Well, Inspector Paul Kemp told Alex Brinley it takes a team effort during such conditions.
I think it would be fair to say it was busy for all the services, including the MUA and other agencies, telecom. There was a telegraph pole that came down in Baldrine, so that obviously then there was a car accident involved in that. So that then involves, I would suggest, all the services then to get involved with that. We had trees down all over the place, all that sort of thing as well. So it's and when we're on the road as well, we're obviously trying to find these things whilst trying to deal with everything else as well. And we also suffer as well. When I was the out-of-town inspector last year, my police car got taken out by a tree.
Oh dear.
It just fell over in the car park at Peel. I was most upset. But yeah, so basically our role is very much trying to keep the roads moving, or if we have to, unfortunately we do have to shut them off, and then we'll get other agencies. So like we were discussing yesterday, the likes of you, so there's all us lot as the emergency services, but the unsung heroes are the DOI, the civil defence, who will have undoubtedly been out going to all sorts, and they'll actually come out as well, civil defence, and take over from a road closure at times to help us so we can be released to go off and deal with the next problem.
When situations are evolving and you've got weather taking over and stuff like this, actually, they can step in here, they can step in there. It sounds like it works really well.
Yeah, and it's because we all talk to each other, I think. We do have these inclement weather meetings, but for other things as well, we talk. But our roles are the way they are, so that when we turn up to things, it isn't necessarily what you were sent to. And the classic example I used to give when I was a training sergeant to the new recruits was, you could be sent to a shoplifter in Boots in Douglas, and that's the call you've been sent to. But actually, when you get there, it's because the person's panicking, they haven't given the correct information. It's actually someone having a heart attack. So you go from going in as a law enforcement role to actually you go into a caregiver until the ambulance service can get to us and give some assistance. And again, the SJCR, who are the unsung heroes, they're trying to gain that information. They're very, very skilled at gaining the right information, but you can't help the person on the other side who's in a major panic because of the situation that they've befallen.
That's Inspector Paul Kemp speaking to Alex there. Let's hope those on call tonight have an easier time. Hundreds of Manx school pupils collected their GCSE results today, with the overall pass rate for Level 1 and Level 2 qualifications at 98%. That means the vast majority scored an IGCSE/GCSE result between A star and G or the equivalent. The number of pupils obtaining an A star to C grade is up 1% on last year at 73%. Meanwhile, those earning the highest marks between A star and A is down a percentage point to 20%. These students from Ben-my-Chree High School have been picking up their results.
Summer Kelly, really worked good. I got A's and I actually passed my history, and I just got mainly A's and B's.
Amazing, well done. And so what's next for you?
I'm doing sixth form here at Barlow.
And what are you going to study?
Maths, chemistry and English language.
Brilliant. So do you know what you want to do next, or just taking it a step at a time at the moment?
Taking it a step at a time. There's so many things to do and I don't know which one to do.
Kennedy, how have you done?
Good. Good for me.
Yeah, so what did you get?
I got B's and C's.
Which is brilliant, well done. And what are you off to do next?
Sixth form here.
And what are you going to study?
English language, German and sociology.
And what's your name?
Gabby.
Gabby, and how have you done, Gabby?
I'm so happy with myself. I'm really happy, yeah. I got a few B's, an A and the rest C's.
Brilliant news, well done you. And what are you going to do next?
I'm staying at Ben-my-Chree for sixth form.
And you're going to study what?
German, history and sociology.
I love that you said I'm proud of myself, because you should be. You've worked really hard for these guys, and so you really, really deserve the happy smiles and results. So well done, and good luck for whatever's next. Well done.
I'm Jack O'Grady, I've failed everything.
Oh no, so how are you feeling though?
I'm not bothered.
So what are you going to do now?
UCM, motor vehicle, become a mechanic.
And that doesn't affect, your grades, they don't affect that?
No, I got an unconditional.
My name's Nick.
Nick, and how have you done today?
I've done really well. I've gotten all the things that I wanted to do. I got maths at an A and a DT as an A, so I'm buzzing.
You came running over going, I've got an A!
Yeah, man.
Big high five for Miss as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So what's next for you then?
Sixth form, Bala or Ben-my-Chree.
And do you know what subject you want to take?
Maths, and then like ICT and business, I think.
Those students at Ballacomene High School speaking to Amy there. Well, the Department of Education says early indications show that around half of 16-year-old school leavers will continue their education in sixth form, with a further 40% taking up a course at University College Isle of Man. The remaining 10% are set to enter employment. But what about those who haven't done as well as they'd have liked? Andrew McKinley is a careers advisor.
You might not have got what you expected, but this is not the end of everything, so I would suggest coming to talk to myself and my colleague Helen. We are around and about this week. We're going to be in college today. I'm going to be in the job centre on Tuesday, so there's posters around they can find us on our signpost website. We'll talk about any other routes we can find to get you to where you want to be.
Because that's the thing as well, is that you might have one idea of what you want to do in your mind, but there is so many things that you could do and so many avenues that you could take, and sometimes it feels a bit overwhelming trying to digest those. So I suppose that's where you then come in and your colleagues.
Yes, what we're trying to do is help people to see some of the things that they're skillful at, the things they enjoy doing, and put that together and think of different ways they can get there. It might not be an academic route, it could be going and doing a course at college or doing an apprenticeship. So we just want to find the right thing for the right people.
And it must be quite rewarding for you then, being able to work with these kids and then seeing them meet their potential.
It's the best job in the world, seeing people and seeing the smile on their face when they suddenly reach what they want to do. And especially when you see somebody who's been sad because they haven't gone the way they thought they were going to go, and then suddenly finding a new direction for them. It's great.
What would your main key bit of advice be for anyone in that situation today?
Think of the things you enjoy, think of the things that you're good at, but also think of the things that the world needs that you can get paid for. And if you can get all those balanced together, you're onto a good thing.
Good advice there from Andrew McKinley, a careers advisor with the Department of Education.
You're listening to the Isle of Man's quintessential daily news and current affairs roundup. Update on Manx Radio.
And it's 12 minutes past 5. Healthcare services are planning and preparing to deal with any potential Mpox cases that may occur on island. However, Public Health Isle of Man advises that the risk of the virus to local residents remains low. Previously known as monkeypox, Mpox can cause painful skin lesions and is spread through direct contact. Simon Richardson reports.
The World Health Organization is taking action to prompt a global response to the virus after a surge in Mpox cases, primarily in areas of Africa, though one case has been recorded in Sweden. Advice from Public Health Isle of Man is to be alert to any unusual rashes or lesions on any part of the body, especially the genitalia. Anyone with concerns is asked to make contact with the sexual health clinic or their GP. Those potentially at higher risk include anyone who changes sexual partners regularly or who has regular close contact with others who've recently travelled to any of the affected African countries. Other symptoms may include fever, muscle aches, chills and exhaustion, headaches and swollen lymph nodes. Public Health says it's important to stress that Mpox is not an illness that affects one community more than any other, and it's not a sexually transmitted disease. It's spread by close contact. Anybody who thinks they may have Mpox symptoms, however mild, should not visit a health facility without an appointment. All calls will be treated sensitively and confidentially.
Simon Richardson with that report. We'll look at the business news on the Isle of Man today. Tesco has told Manx Radio it's faced some issues recruiting on the island. It's currently continuing its takeover of ShopRite, which has created around 350 new jobs here. But store director Andy Sanderson admits it hasn't been the easiest in the current climate.
We're really fortunate that lots of customers are using our stores and we're providing more products and services. So as it stands at the moment, we're up to 383 new roles that we've created on the island in the retail sector. And we're really pleased to have that many, people working in our stores. It's great to have that opportunity for, mums and dads, people to work part-time, full-time, evenings, weekends, whatever fits into their, their kind of family sort of planning really. But we're really pleased about that number of new jobs.
And why do you think the number of jobs you've been able to create has increased so much?
We want to be really flexible. We've got a lot of part-time jobs. There's lots of people that were really keen to come and work for us that maybe have had children, they're in families, got young families, and maybe working evenings and stuff that might sit around their kind of family commitments. But we also have got a lot more departments, new services in the store. We've got different checkout operations, so we've been able to create some new roles which we're really pleased to offer for the people of Isle of Man.
And what's it been like trying to fill those roles as well? Because there has notoriously in recent months, years, been a bit of a recruitment issue on the island. Have you had many issues there?
Yeah, look, it's definitely difficult to recruit. There's obviously a finite number of people that are here, unfortunately, and we know that the hospitality, leisure and retail obviously are trying to share, people around. What we try to focus on is just making sure that we've got a really good base rate of pay for our colleagues. We have really good benefits like discount cards, pension enrolment, and we also provide free food and drinks for our colleagues in the colleague room. So we try and look after our colleagues and make sure that they've got a great place to work, and hopefully that's really appealing for people.
Tesco store director Andy Sanderson on the issues the supermarket giant has faced recruiting on the island, speaking with Amy there. Now, the latest stock market report from Ramsey Crookall. UK and European stocks moved higher as investors digested the Federal Reserve's latest comments on the future path of interest rates. The dollar rebounded from a 13-month low against the euro before Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell is due to speak on Friday, and as the greenback's recent weakness was seen as being overdone relative to peers. Oil prices steadied as a drop in US fuel inventories provided a floor after 4 days of declines on investor concern over the global demand outlook. And gold prices fell more than a percentage point, pressured by a rebound in the dollar and higher Treasury yields, while traders look forward to Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell's speech for more cues on rate cuts there. The markets at the close, the FTSE 100 down 0.05% to 8,279. The DAX up 0.32% to 18,507. And a short time ago, the Dow Jones down 0.22% to 40,799. The S&P 500 down 0.10% to 5,614. And the Nasdaq down 0.19% to 17,885. British pound sterling trading at 1.308 US dollars and 1.178 euros. Gold down 1.33% to $2,478, and a barrel of Brent up 1.74% to $77.35.
I'm running late again. Do you know where I put my car keys?
In the fridge.
Where's my phone?
Under the dog basket.
Bye.
You haven't forgotten that we're seeing Ramsey Crookall later?
Oh, no, of course not. 5 p.m, is it?
2:45.
I'll be there.
Life is busy. That's why Ramsey Crookall's team takes time to help you make a mindful investment decision, considering all the options, giving you full control of your financial future. Less stress, more assurance.
Forgot to put my shoes on.
Oh.
See how we can make your money work for you. Call 717171 or visit ramseycrookall.com. Licensed and regulated by the Isle of Man Financial Services Authority.
Manx Radio Travel, driven by Quayside Tyres and Service Centre.
Well, first of all, for the next Manx Grand Prix qualifying session, roads around the mountain course will close again this evening at 6 o'clock, reopening no later than 9. Police are warning of congestion when the Ben-my-Chree arrives back into Douglas at 6 o'clock, coinciding with that road closure, so be aware of that and try to avoid the area around the C terminal in Douglas if you can. Meanwhile, 6 temporary emergency road closures have been announced by the DOI ahead of expected bad weather later. The roads affected include Shore Road in Gansey, Queen's Promenade in Ramsey, Castletown Promenade, Laxey Promenade and Douglas Prom from Port Jack along Queen's and Central Promenades, all of which will close between 1am and 5am Friday. Meanwhile, from 11pm tonight to approximately 5am tomorrow morning, a further closure will be enforced along the length of West Quay in Ramsey from its junction with Marketplace to its junction with Bowring Road. Over at the airport, a slight delay on the EasyJet Manchester flights in and out over the next hour. Otherwise, all flights looking okay this evening. Now sailings, as we mentioned before, the Ben-my-Chree set to arrive back into Douglas at 6. The Manxman is due to return to passenger duties tonight after repairs were made in Heysham following that brush with a wall yesterday, but sailings tonight are subject to possible disruption or cancellation due to the poor weather. A decision on the delayed Heysham sailing will be made at 7 o'clock. That's been pushed back until 9, the sailing of course. Now, the Manannan was held up in Liverpool earlier as passengers and vehicles were unable to leave due to excessive movement of the link span. The steam packet decided to wait for high water, which has caused delays to the afternoon schedule. Leaving Liverpool just before 4 o'clock, she's expected back at 6:45. She's now expected to depart back at 8:15.
Quayside Tyres and Service Centre with 1 year's free engine warranty from Castrol. Get more with...
5:20. A Manx student has undergone extensive surgery to his jaw after being attacked during a protest in Liverpool earlier this month. 20-year-old Brandon Lee Jones, who's from Port Erin, was walking along the city's waterfront near Pier Head when violence erupted involving anti-immigration and anti-racism protesters. Brandon Lee, who's studying games, art and animation at the SES Institute, told Manx Radio he'd finished studying for the day and was heading to a skate park to unwind. He explained to Simon Richardson he was attacked after intervening to help an elderly lady who'd been confronted by a group of 5 protesters.
As I tried to restore some form of peace along with the police officers trying to make sure this poor lady was okay, I was struck in the side of the face, breaking 2 parts of my mandible. And after that it was a little bit lightheadedness, as I'm sure you could imagine the situation being very high pressure.
Well, your injuries were severe, weren't they? What happened in the immediate aftermath of that assault?
I had stumbled backwards. The gentlemen that were in front of me, being very aggressive, had then been chased by canine unit police officers. So they had immediately scattered towards city centre of Liverpool. I myself was spitting blood for about 25-30 minutes, having people on the street check my teeth since I couldn't feel them. It was obviously incredibly scary to be surrounded by so many large groups of people that have such an aggression and such a nature to violence that, as being injured, I didn't feel comfortable that I could even remain there. And I'd tried at several points to leave the vicinity after the fact.
How are you now, Brandon? Are you recovering well?
I've been recovering. It's definitely been a process. Luckily, I'm able to speak. There shouldn't be any permanent damage aside from a weakness in my jaw. I won't be going around biting caramel apples anytime soon.
Manx student Brandon Lee there, who was attacked during a protest in Liverpool earlier this month, speaking to Simon Richardson. The time now 5:22. And Onken MHK says he believes government's new transport strategy needs to connect elderly residents to vital services like doctors, dentists and Nobles Hospital. Rob Callister has written to the Department of Infrastructure to share his views about the document. Mr Callister has questioned whether bus services should be assessed on how profitable they are, highlighting the decision to stop operating the Cregneash service as an example.
Well, if you take the Cregneash, and I've listened to the comments from the local MHKs, the department clearly said it's not profitable. Well, is a bus route on the Isle of Man there for a community service, or is it there to deliver a profit? I think if you speak to most people, it is about delivering a community service. So if you take, as I've mentioned, about the older members within my constituency, they have a right to access services such as Noble Hospital in a quickest way possible. The alternative they have is to go through a charity, or they go through ordering a taxi, which all has costs attached to it. So these are the problems that the department have to overcome.
Should government be doing a little bit more? Because, if you look at what households are going through, families are going through charities, they're relying on charities. Here you've got people who need transport and they're relying on a charity to take them where they need to get to because they can't access that service.
The charity is called Care in Man. This is a voluntary organisation who will pick people up and take them to hospital appointments. They'll take them to the doctors, etc. It's a fantastic charity, and one that I've only discovered in the last few months when I've spoke to constituents and they've explained to me that they rely heavily on a friend or they rely on this charity. Now, government obviously is failing, especially when our bus service cannot give an alternative option to take someone to an appointment at the hospital. That to me is telling me that the bus service network is not working. Even though we do have an excellent service, as I've said, in Onken, there is pockets within that constituency that feel isolated and not inclusive within society, and we've got to address those problems.
Onken MHK Rob Callister speaking to Manx Radio's Chanel Suku there. Well, a DOI spokesperson thanked Mr. Callister for his submission and is encouraging people to visit consult.gov.im to get involved. You can find out more on that story at manxradio.com.
You're listening to the Isle of Man's quintessential daily news and current affairs roundup. Update on Manx Radio.
And the time now approaching 5:25, and let's get an update on today's sporting news with Darren Timpson. Fast am I, Darren?
Fast am I. After 2 days of awful weather, we finally had motorbike action this afternoon. Mike Brown set the pace on his superbike as he was the only rider of the session to cross 123 miles per hour. Brown's fastest lap saw him cross the line in 18 minutes and 22.274 seconds at 123.225 miles per hour to put him top of the overall timings. Elsewhere in the 2:15 p.m. session, Daniel Ingham was fastest in the senior as he lapped the course within 90 minutes and 20.952 seconds. Finally, in the junior, Andrea Maiola continued from where he left off on Sunday to finish almost 9 seconds ahead of second best Maurizio Bottolicio. During the 1 o'clock session, Ian Loafer finished top of the lightweight class with a best average lap speed of 114.37 miles per hour. In the Classic Senior, Jamie Coward finished first with a time of 21 minutes and 51.265 seconds. Lastly, Sean Anderson crossed the line quickest in the Classic Senior as he lapped 109.694 miles per hour. Racing is set to continue this evening with roads closing at 6 o'clock. The session will then begin at 6:30 p.m. with the Senior, Classic Superbike and Junior qualifying getting underway. At 7:20, the Classic Senior, Classic Junior and Lightweight session will then round off the evening. Roads are due to open no later than 9 o'clock tonight. Elsewhere, Isle of Man pro tennis player Billy Harris has the chance to make it to the US Open for the first round this evening. The 29-year-old beat Merkel Delian by 2 sets at the Billie Jean King National Tennis Centre last night to make it to the final round of qualification. Harris is currently in action against Timothy Skatov, and the 29-year-old will have to beat the Kazakhstani if he hopes to progress to the main competition for the first time in his career.
Darren Simpson, Guru Maeda reminded there that the roads around the Manx Grand Prix course are due to close again at 6 o'clock, so just over half an hour's time, reopening no later than 9 o'clock tonight. And that's it from Update Tonight. Do remember you can contact us in the Manx Radio newsroom anytime by email. It's newsroom@manxradio.com. And as always, there's much more on tonight's stories on the Manx Radio website, including interviews in full in the newscast section. Coming up next, we have an Island Life special before Greatest Hits at 6 o'clock. And Update will be back at the same time tomorrow.